When I did my episode on Ghost in the Shell, I may have underplayed just how vital it was for the anime scene. There was just nothing like it, and I would argue that for the most part, there still isn't. There's no mistaking that manga entertainment captured lightning in a bottle with the film, and I bet you anything that rival companies were eyeballing manga's little gem with envy, which would certainly explain the process behind Pioneer's decision to bring over today's subject. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the anime that spelled the doom for named voice talent for years to come. Armitage III. Released in America in 1995, the series was alright. Not great, but I've definitely seen far, far worse. And normally that would be the end for such an OVA. But Destiny had some other plans for it. The big wigs over at Pioneer were suddenly overcome with what can only be diagnosed as a bad case of hair up the ass syndrome. Someone, or some people, had the bright idea of re-releasing the OVA, editing the nearly 2.5-hour runtime into a neat 90-minute feature film, renaming the project Polymatrix, and getting two of Hollywood's biggest stars to lend their voices to bring this already told story to life again. And who would be our leading lady and man? Why, none other than Elizabeth Berkley and Kiefer Sutherland! Yay! Yes, fresh off her star-making performance in Showgirls, Miss Berkley infuses the role of the eponymous Armitage with all the grace and emotion of a plank of wood. As for Mr. Sutherland, I can't front, he's not that bad. I mean, he's not spectacular or anything, he's certainly not David Ogden Nash in Spirited Away, but he does alright for himself here. And this is coming from someone who doesn't really care all too much about Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland. No shit, that's his full name. Truth be told, the recasting doesn't bother me too much, but that is a problem. To really understand why I have so many problems with Polymatrix, though, we're going to have to get down and dirty with the dissection. I promise I'll be gentle. We begin with Ross, Kiefer Sutherland, flying into Mars on some commercial spaceliner. And that's when the shit hits the fan. It's remarkably clear that they did more than just edit down the original OVA, even in just the first few minutes here. Not only did they pare down the length, they rearranged scenes and added footage that I think was initially cut from the OVA. This results in a beginning that is so confusing, they might as well have been speaking actual Martian.
The cargo area.
Huh? Ah!
Why did that guy smash a guitar into that console? Was that what caused the tram to go so fast? How? And to make matters worse, the next time we see Ross, he's perfectly fine. What the fuck happened back there? All the film does is cut to a narratively pointless credit montage of Armitage apprehending a bank robber, I think, and bam, we're back at the spaceport like the worst thing that happened was that Ross had to sit next to a crying child. I didn't think I had to have someone explain this to anyone, but here it goes. Scott?
If you're going to re-edit something, have it make sense.
I mean, just look at how it was in the original OVA. Okay, bad example. This right here is the heart of why I think Polymatrix doesn't work. It's a re-edited version of a story that wasn't told particularly well in the first place. The OVA has a nasty habit of jumping from scene to scene without any kind of narrative pace. Or sense, for that matter. To me, this stinks of a project that went way over budget, considering how many scenes just sort of end abruptly and how other scenes begin without any kind of link or lead up. So, in essence, they took the hatchet to a story that already had the hatchet took to it. What fucking verb tense is that? At least in the OVA, the whole guitar thing is explained better. That it's the instrument of a passenger on the plane named McCannon, the so-called last country singer. Pfft, I wish. McCannon, it seems, is the target of Billy Idol here, who probably didn't think this whole killing of a famous country music star through, because wheeling out your victim in a suitcase dripping with her own blood is about as stealthy as a Blue Angels flyover. Thankfully, Armitage is here to stop him from getting away, pulling out her... Oh my god. Okay. Along with the crazily sexualized outfit, the animators also gave her a cute little pink gun. It's like Barbie's first death machine. And I'm serious, even though she's 4'0" and probably weighs 70 pounds wet, she racks up a higher body count than polio. And now that she has Billy dead to rights, she won't let him get away.
Her name was Kelly McCannon. She was a famous country singer. In fact, the only country singer in the universe. I guess this means they're extinct.
And the suspect?
You were on his getaway vehicle, you dumb asshole! Seriously, she jumps on his car as he's trying to get away, and not even a minute passes by before she bamps back onto the scene, telling Ross she doesn't know what happened. What, did she get thrown off the car and ran her ass off back into the spaceport, and she's just lying because she doesn't want to look bad? And yes, this happens in the OVA too. Apparently editing can't save your film from plot holes the size of Sam Worthington's head. Seriously, have you really looked at the guy? Motherfucker has a head like a potato. It looks like things take a twist for the cybernetic as it's revealed that McCannon is really a robot in disguise. Keep waiting for that Transformers reference, it'll never come. As the Martian PD try to puzzle over this most confusing of murders, Armitage takes Ross to his new home after getting transferred, where a strange broadcast appears, featuring Billy taunting over how he killed McCannon.
Who are you? What are you doing? Leave me alone.
Ooh, nice. I know you guys can't see it, but let's just say there's no Brazil on Mars. As Ross settles in, it becomes clearer and clearer that there is a large amount of anti-robot sentiment on Mars, as the public blames them for the rampant unemployment. Hell, I'd be on the Martian side too if robots looked like the kawaii Desu nightmares here. The anti-robotic sentiment is so strong that Ross and Armitage's assignment isn't so much to find Billy, but rather to find out who made McCannon, because such advanced robotics is illegal on Mars. So, of course, the first step is to find out how much her manager knew about her.
Now you're positive that that woman on the shuttle with you was Kelly McCannon? Well?
Of course I'm sure.
Excuse me.
Please tell me you found Kelly, won't you? Huh? Huh? No stinking robot can play a guitar or sing the way Kelly does. I'm her manager. I know her better than anybody. She's the most human woman I know.
Oh, wow. It's like the voice director knew that Stephen Bloom was going to be as big as he is today, so he made him go for the most pathetic drunk guy ever. And somebody just pissed my pants. I'm not sure who. Second most pathetic drunk guy ever. Their investigation is interrupted by a message that's forwarded Ross's way. Seems that the woman who was painting that artistic nude is an android of the same model as McCannon, called Thirds, hence the title, and that Billy has been sending her messages. But it looks like it's too late as Billy has already gotten her and somehow torched her body along with a bunch of other Thirds. And then he bamps randomly behind Ross and gives chase. Okay. I'll admit, Billy here is my favorite character, if only because he actually shows emotion. Manic scene-chewing emotion, but emotion. And really, when your main leads are a low-key, dull-as-dishwater cop and a spunky jailbait android, it's not hard for the villain to steal the show. Which is actually a shame because I would have really dug Armitage if she were voiced by, I don't know, anyone other than Elizabeth Berkley. Hell, even Juliette Lewis did a better job in the sequel.
Yeah, you destroyed the humans, too. I'll bet you knew that 18% of the staff were people.
But not by much.
You, of all people, should understand my work. After all, didn't a cyborg kill your partner? They're a pestilence! But your leg!
Okay, hold the phone. What are these two, magic? How did they get outside? Ross pushes Billy into a door that wasn't behind him in the previous shot, and where in the fuck is the gigantic stained glass window in this outside shot? Fuck if I know where it is, but I certainly do know where it's not. The original OVA. Yeah, there's an entire fight sequence that was edited out of the film that actually explains how the hell these two got here. One would think the last thing they would want to edit out is an action sequence, or edit anything at all for that matter. So, Billy has Ross on the ropes, but in comes Armitage to save the day, and let Elizabeth Berkley here have her Oscar moment.
You monster!
Yeah, that's right, I'm a monster. Just another name for a third in your book. What are you gonna do? Destroy me? Why? What did we ever do to humans? If humans don't want me, then why did they create me?
To be a baby factory. No, I'm not trying to be chauvinistic here or anything. That's really why they were created. This is jumping ahead in the story, but I couldn't wait to talk about this little bit for much longer. Without a doubt, this is one of the most uncomfortably anti-feminist anime I've ever watched. And think about the competition for that title. I'll go into further detail about this plot point when we reach it, but I just wanted to point out this little bit before we move on. If the whole point of the third line was so that they can create artificial uteri, why would they program them without knowledge of that? They know they're androids. Why would you keep something like that from them? That is so counterproductive to the stated goal that it almost smacks of sabotage. This has been a pedantic moment with Sage.
Don't do it! Just cuff him. You're a police officer first, Armitage, and you know what your duty is.
Last person I would expect to play good cop.
You were gonna tell me everything I want to know. I swear to God, I will hurt you before I kill you, and no one will stop me. Do you understand me?
Ha! I knew I was keeping this around for something. Actually, it's been a while since I've looked through this. Let's see here. Lost Boys, Dark City. Wait, Buffy the Vampire Slayer? God damn it, where's my Donald Sutherland joke box? Despondent with her lot in life, Armitage melodramatically fucks off and disappears. And just at the worst possible time. Even with Billy in custody, thirds are still being targeted, and the evidence is pointing to Armitage. With a warrant out for her arrest, Ross manages to track Armitage down.
I was worried about you.
I used to love the playground after school. I was a pretty clumsy kid, though. I took a tumble off the seesaw once and bawled all the way home.
Wait, she's a robot with the ability to grow like a real human being. Okay, brushing aside the fact that this is really stretching my believability module, why would they do that? Again, if the whole point of the thirds is so that androids can reproduce, why put them through puberty and essentially delay their sole function? You might be thinking it's to help sell the masquerade of them being human if they had a documented childhood and such, but what's the point of the cover-up if it's established that over a third of the Martian population are unregistered?
I doubt we'll find any record of them because 37% of the population isn't registered here.
Hell, if the whole point of the thirds is to be a living womb, why even build a female frame around it? Well, I guess some men would be kind of self-conscious jacking off into a cybernetic uterus. You know, the normies. So, out of nowhere, Armitage finds her so-called brother, the only male in the third line, I think. Goddamn Japanese and their androgyny.
By the way, shouldn't you be in class?
No, I'm transferring my thoughts to the main memory at the navigation center.
What for?
To make a backup of myself, obviously. Well, let's go.
Huh? Where?
To the memory server at the ad tower, of course. You want to learn the purpose of the thirds, don't you?
I can't believe it. You're a third?
Wow, guys. That's editing. Simply say you have to go someplace, and then smash cut to you at that place. Brilliant! Let me try that. Oh, I got it. Come on, guys. We gotta go to Christina Hendricks' dressing room. Damn it. Just in time to heighten tension, the elevator that the three bamfed onto goes out of control and winds up crippling Ross. And just to make matters worse, surprise mech attack!
It's Dan Claude. I just don't believe it.
Oh, I believe it's Billy Idol, or at least a Billy Idol, but what I can't believe is the fact that he stayed in that tank underwater for what had to be days. So he played the waiting game in that tank, just on the off chance that they'd come this way? What is he, the sniper? So it looks like Billy here is an android and is actually one of many, but unlike the first Billy Idol, Armitage doesn't take pity on him and sends him careening off to his death. See you in about 10 minutes, Billy. Moving on from that pointless tank fight, Ross manages to survive his wounds, but it looks like he won't come out fully intact, one of his arms and a good chunk of his chest having been replaced with cybernetics. While healing, he learns about the Third's ability to procreate, and Armitage is filled in as well.
Now I understand why the Thirds were made to seem so human, not just in appearance, but emotionally. Like the murdered singer and that novelist. They weren't just machines, they had souls. It takes more than the right plumbing to procreate.
Message for you, asshole. No, you fucking moron. All that needs to happen for procreation is for a sperm and egg cell to meet. Keep your ignorant douche nozzle comments to yourself. Signed, Science. P.S. Fuck Todd Atkin. Though Ross is able to make a full recovery, as well as a start on an awesome cyborg cosplay, the bad news keeps rolling in. The third investigation has been dismissed from up on high, even though there's too many loose threads. Meanwhile, Armitage has been looking through her brother's memory banks to see if there's any information leading towards why the Thirds were created with the ability to breed. But once again, in comes Billy to fuck shit up and hack her brother. God, this guy's died more times than Krillin. Hell, he doesn't even get to go down swinging either. Armitage just pops a few caps into some wiring that somehow fries his brain. And this also leads to her brother being killed, somehow. And I was just getting attached to the little useless asshole. Coming to her aid, Ross meets back up with Armitage, having both been branded rogue officers by the Martian government. So with nothing left to lose, they decide to say fuck it and find the real Billy Idol being guarded in a hospital. And you guessed it, another Billy Idol fight!
Not again.
Dan Claude, there's no way.
Hey, let's rumba!
God bless you, you insane bastard. You're the only one keeping me invested in this. I know this is a problem that isn't easily conveyed in a review like this, but the pacing is just god-awful here. Big surprise, I know, considering they edited 50 minutes out of a 2.5-hour OVA series. But that's only a part of it. The story was structured like an OVA, with appropriate rising and falling actions as dictated by an episodic narrative. Here, in a film, this kind of pacing just makes it feel incredibly tedious. I'm watching a robotic psychopath wreck shit in a hospital in a gigantic mech suit. I should not be feeling like I'm watching NASCAR. Surprise, surprise, Armitage winds up killing Billy Idol for the last time, thankfully. And the two make off for the location of the man responsible for making the third line, Armitage's father. And this is where the story takes a hard left turn into what the fucksville. We've been down this road many a time here on Anime Abandoned. One would think I'd be used to it by now. When the two arrive, they find out that Armitage's father has kind of gone off his rocker and is being looked after by another Billy Idol.
I am Wilbur Dan Claude, and Dr. Asakura's aide.
Oh, well, yeah, he might look to you like he's one of those Dan assassin-roids. But I fixed up his crazy head, just as you can see.
Indeed he did. The violent tendencies I had are now gone due to the upgrade.
Movie, what are you doing? Taking away Billy Idol's violent tendencies is like muting Deadpool. This isn't StarCraft. Rip that shit off. Because her father's mind is pretty much gone, Armitage loses hope of ever finding out about her past or the history of the Thirds. But it's nothing that a little baby making can't cure.
But I'm not normal. I'm a robot.
I'm half robot too, but I know a true heart when I've met one.
We interrupt this broadcast for the following announcement.
Did the anime just cock-block itself? Smooth. Being the polite gentleman we all know him for, Billy waits until after post-coitus to finally explain why the Thirds were made, and why they're being targeted.
I don't understand why even create a third type. I mean, the seconds were good enough, even on Earth.
Perhaps being from Earth, you do not have the knowledge of the difficulties there are with low Martian birth rates.
No. I've heard. What's it mean?
Any colony desiring independence requires a populace. Otherwise, they can't develop a new identity. And Mars will continue to be weak as long as it remains dependent upon the Earth for its immigration.
Ha! If you thought that was a baffling change-up, better choke up fast, because here comes the curve.
The Earth Federation is now strongly feminist. A robot who can conceive contradicts the basis of the Terran Party's position of basic humanity. For Mars to agree, Mars must eliminate the Thirds.
Yup. The reason why the Thirds are being targeted is because the feminist Earth government doesn't want them taking away their gerbs. Not on the same level as finding out that the Jews took over America, but it's up there. I really don't know how to respond to this. I mean, the anime doesn't outright vilify feminism, but it's hard to deny this is a very troubling plot point. I can get behind the idea that women probably wouldn't want robots reducing their biological role down to irrelevance any more than men would, so their position is understandable. But factoring the way the anime frames their reasoning and what the government did to save face, it's hard not to find the idea of feminism as being the antagonistic force behind the plot. A story like this requires a deft hand at world building and characterization. Someone who didn't work on Armitage III. Trying as best as they can to sweep the anti-feminism under the rug, Ross gets a warning that the military are on their way to blow the whole area to Kingdom Come. They try to evacuate Armitage's father, but the stubborn codger would rather die with his creations. But not before he gives Armitage here some sweet Mega Man upgrades.
Daddy will fix it. Daddy will fix his little girl. There, it's finished, Naomi. Now you are real.
Could they get any lazier? It just fades to black, and bam, now Armitage has angel wings and can shoot lasers. This happens in the OVA too. This could not have been intentional. The only feasible explanation has to be that the studio went way over budget and they couldn't animate the transformation sequence. No one could be this fucking inept. Even the fucking Korean knockoff cartoons I've reviewed managed to paste together something. And that's basically it. Ross and Armitage fight the military and they walk off into the sunset to live another day. Well, it's different here than in the OVA. The original ending feels a bit too much like the theatrical cut of Blade Runner to me. The film ends on a more ambiguous and down note that I think fits the story better. Of all the things the film gets right, huh? Normally, I think I'd be harder on this film than I am, because when you get right down to it, it's a film that didn't need to be made, and does nothing for anime other than provide how irresponsible Pioneer was with their money. But after coming off of Virgin Fleet, well, I guess I can afford some leniency. There are some good parts to the OVA, and that's the version I would watch if I had to watch it again, but both the film and the original cut are an unbalanced mess. It's just that the film is more so than the OVA. Nevertheless, Women's Month continues here on Anime Abandoned with our final installment. So let's be friends. Till next time.